So how did I go from this to this? Over the past 7 months, it's been my personal hobby to create speaker backpacks, of which I designed 7 different versions and 18 different revisions. See, I like to dance, and I love going to anime conventions or just frolicking around downtown. I do it because it's fun, but also I want to share the vibes and the music with others around me. And that was the purpose of me creating these wild things. My first venture into the speaker backpack concept was just strapping a JBL Extreme to my back using this leather harness. And it worked great for sharing the vibes, but it lacked presence outdoors because of the lack of volume and bass, and it was also bouncing off my back causing bruising. So from the ground up, I began designing a more ergonomic and powerful setup like this, with aesthetics as the main focus. Think Lamborghini Countach. This first time around, I chose the speaker components based on what fit form factor wise and got good reviews on Parts Express. And I did go through the effort of creating a first order crossover for the tweeters on this sound system. The end result being much louder than the JBL Extreme, way more ergonomic, and lots of fun to use, but the drivers were being overpowered by the 200 watt amp. The battery compartment situation was a bit of a mess using old drone batteries of mine. For version 2, I tried to maximize the potential of the 200 watt amp by using more powerful drivers and subwoofer. I ended up using 2 full-range woofer drivers without a tweeter and no crossover, as well as a more powerful 6-inch low-profile subwoofer in a undersized sealed enclosure, not paying any mind to proper bass enclosure design. I also expanded the capability for connections such as USB and improved the whole battery situation, now using 21700 lithium ion. I had a lot of fun with this backpack and got good use out of it at the conventions. I did notice that although it was loud and the highs were very clear and crisp, it was lacking bass, and also it was very directional in its sound pattern. People in front of me couldn't hear it very well, but people behind me were absolutely blasted. Though I added a convenient handle, it's still very heavy at 10 pounds, the previous version being about 7. Version 3 was my attempt at getting omnidirectional sound by utilizing DML panels, which stands for Distributed Mode Loudspeakers. They're just vibrating acoustic panels. I utilized some pretty wacky construction methods to make this backpack and learned a lot along the way, but not really practical for manufacturing. This backpack sounded pretty terrible. It was very muffled, and the vibrating panels only really shine when they're fully exposed to the air and not enclosed on one side. For version 4, I totally rethunk my approach to omnidirectional sound by utilizing conical reflectors and pointing the tweeter and woofer drivers upward. And the sound theoretically should reflect off the conical reflectors, and instead of producing a more cone-like dispersion upward, they'll create a more donut pattern horizontally, increasing the gain for everyone around me as I'm dancing. For this design, I went with a ported enclosure in order to make more effective use out of smaller, more efficient drivers. This required me to learn more about optimizing bass enclosure design and using a software tool called WinISD in order to get the best bass coverage and gain. So I catted up this jetpack looking thing inspired by the Halo Covenant vehicles and incorporated some of the learning points that I learned along the way. The theory about reflecting the sound off the cones totally did work to create a more 360 sound pattern for the listeners around me. Though I think the cone reflectors could be a little bit larger to increase the gain in that horizontal plane. This design is still pretty chonky, weighing in at 8 or 9 pounds, and it's so wide and so short that it's actually less ergonomic than my previous designs because the bottom part kind of digs into my lower back. For version 5, I'm converging. I'm going to maintain the conical speaker reflectors, the ported bass design, and I'm going to make it lighter by using 18650 lithium ion cells instead of the 21700s. I will solve the ergonomics issues by making it longer, more narrow, so it conforms to my back without bouncing around or feeling like it's going to fall off me. This time though, I'll be going for more of a cyberpunk look. Let me know if you want me to make dedicated videos about each speaker design, V1, V2, and V4. V3 was too much of a failure to make a video about. And stay tuned for my next version 5 backpack, which I'm really excited about.